What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into this edition of Warchant TV. I'm Aslan Hajavandi, joined by founder and administrator of Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminoles sports source, Gene Williams, and our managing editor, Irish O'Fell. Hit the like button below, thumbs up. That's what it means. Subscribe to the YouTube page as well. It's totally free. Set your notifications for however you like it, frequently or infrequently, and do check out the website. Use that promo code WARCHANT30 to join the family. All right, the big news of Tuesday, as we got to speak to Mike Norvell and the players of Florida State, was that there's a starting quarterback, James Blackman. What was your reaction to that news?
It definitely wasn't shock. I think we all saw this coming for a while, especially when I think Purdy went down, and then we heard that Jordan Travis, missed the second scrimmage and had been missing some time. So it just added up to be him. And so not a surprise, but, I think a lot of people are excited, including his teammates, for James to get another opportunity on this thing. And, he's going to get his opportunity. That's for sure. He gets Georgia Tech, and then the schedule really heats up pretty quickly. So I'm excited for James. We've all had dealings with him. He's a great kid. I think everybody's cheering for him to be successful. And, there's a lot of things he's got to get through, obviously, in some areas to improve on. I know the coaches and James talked about that today, but we'll see in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I like the fact that the coaches have been honest about where he needs to improve, and it's not a national secret. We all know, having watched him play over the last 2 or 3 seasons, that it's really about how he handles difficult situations. How does he bounce back after something bad happens? And what's freshest in everybody's mind is that bowl game, and he kind of self-destructed with 5 turnovers. And so that's been the emphasis, taking care of the football, making good decisions, not being not spiraling out of control if things go poorly. And so that's been a point of emphasis from the coaching staff. They say they've seen real progress there. We'll have to see when Florida State actually opens the season on September 12th. That'll be our first chance to see how he does in this offense. But on the one hand, I agree with Gene that this was kind of a situation. We all expected it to happen because of the circumstances. But at the same time, you could also argue that this might be James Blackman's best chance for success since he's been a quarterback at Florida State. He's in a system that's more suited to what he wants to do, as more of a pro-style quarterback, which he was in as a freshman, but he was a true freshman. He wasn't ready for that moment. Now he's got 3 or 4 years under his belt. He's not playing in the system he was playing in the last 2 years, which was more of a spread and trying to do some read option and things like that. So this could be his best chance to actually have success. We'll have to see if he actually takes advantage of it and does that.
Gene, I guess Ira kind of touched on it there. I mean, we've seen this quarterback for several years now. I mean, and we haven't seen anything this season, obviously, because of COVID and the way that practices are being run. So, what is the belief? Why is there a belief that things will be different?
Well, it goes back, he's obviously, this is the third set of coaches. I think he got thrown in an offense under Jimbo Fisher it's all about the quarterback. It all runs around him. That's a lot of pressure for a freshman. And then, we need to regurgitate all the difficulties with the offense the last couple of years under the prior coaching staff. But, so I think, like Ira said, I think he's got an offensive system that suits him well. I mean, at Memphis, Mike Norvell has been successful even without having elite quarterbacks. I mean, this isn't James Blackman in the second coming of Trevor Lawrence, but I think at the same point we know he is a Division I quarterback. It's just a function of eliminating those mistakes. And I found it interesting today when Mike Norvell talked about that he's an emotional guy. He's an emotional coach, but you got to turn that off when the game starts. And that's one thing, Kenny Dillingham talked about it and Mike Norvell talked about it, and even Blackman talked about how he's got to just, eliminate the mistakes and, not dwell on the prior play. And I think that's been the whole thing with him, because you can see Blackman play well for a quarter and a half, but we all know when he makes that mistake, the floodgates are about to open. If he can eliminate that, he can be a very quality quarterback, I think, for Florida State and win a lot of games.
In some of the interviews today, there were a lot of stories about James's leadership. Jay Sean Corbin, the Texas A&M transfer at running back, spoke about how James, when he announced he was going to transfer to Florida State, even before he got here, James reached out to him. They had some conversations. He wouldn't give us the details of what they talked about, but clearly James he scores off the charts in those areas. Being the guy to cheer on other teammates, being a good friend, being a good teammate, guys on the team like him. But I also felt like when you hear that I could see some fans kind of rolling their eyes, because, at the end of the day, all of that stuff is great. but it's really what you do on the field and how productive are you. And I think, one thing that both Coach Norvell and Kenny Dillingham, the offensive coordinator, both said was, this isn't necessarily James is going to be the starting quarterback for the season opener against Georgia Tech. This isn't a, hey, you're our guy for 11 games or no matter what happens this season. So I would caution fans who don't believe to not get just angry and just assume that, it's going to be another 11 games with James Blackman. All of those leadership things, all those things are great. If he doesn't perform on the field, if they're not successful on the field and Chubba Purdy gets back to full strength, which we think will happen in the first couple games of the season, I don't think this is this isn't a marriage. I think this new coaching staff and James Blackman are going steady right now, and I don't think the kids say that anymore, but people of our generation will know what I mean. And I think that he's the quarterback for now, but if he doesn't produce, I do think they're going to explore other options.
Gene, what do you think about the timing of it? Not 2 full weeks, but for all intents and purposes, 2 weeks before the game, as opposed to waiting for game week.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why I asked Mike Norvell in the last media session, which was Saturday, about the situation with the starting quarterback and the timeline, because I knew they were making that transition from camp to game prep. And the thing is, if you're going to prepare for your opponent, you need that whoever you're going to start needs to get those first team reps. So I figured it was going to happen this week. So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to do it. And now they can go full in preparing for Georgia Tech and do their full installs and play some football. Because I mean, we're not 11 days away. I mean, it's sure looking like, unless something crazy happens, we're going to have football. Now, let's hope we can get in a full 11 games. But right now, things are trending very positively towards it.
Do you guys, I think we're going to see more than one quarterback. I mean, Jordan Travis, I think if he's available,
absolutely,
we'll see him. I think, I don't know if Tate Rodemaker makes sense to mix in, but certainly when Chubba Purdy's back, he'll get plenty of at-bats as well.
Yeah, I think so. Well, obviously they're going to have packages with Jordan Travis. I mean, they'd be crazy not to, especially near the goal line where he can utilize his legs. But yeah, I think absolutely Chubba, maybe, again, with no limitations on eligibility, there's no reason why you wouldn't see. Now, maybe Rodemaker a little bit more cleanup time to give him some reps, but I could definitely see some packages with Chubba Purdy too, because you can utilize his legs, you can utilize his arms to do a lot of fun things. And we've seen with Mike Norvell in the past, he'll throw a lot of personnel out there in a lot of different groupings. So yeah, I think what we've seen in the past, how quarterbacks can be handled, will be very different with the staff.
September 12th, only 11 days away as we record this. 3:30 will be the kickoff against Georgia Tech. You join us at 5 o'clock on YouTube, Corey Clark and myself, with a live edition of Wake Up Warchant, your favorite podcast, hopefully. Head over to warchant.com for plenty more from Tuesday's media availability and reaction to the player interviews and the news of James Blackman being named the starting quarterback for Florida State.